And tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration is moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing.
Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's official. Former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin.
If we're not careful, AI could make it impossible to distinguish truth from fiction in the news we consume.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like it got asthma.
Day one of trying to make it to work without yelling at a pedestrian. Pray for me, y'all. Still alive. Still unemployed. But baby, I look G-O-D doing it. Oh my God. I'm not even late. I'm just dramatic. Y'all know I will risk it all for a good melon. We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania. This just in, a pubnador blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses. A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dong load. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad. Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress Sharkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Banger. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told Sharkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and Sharkeisha's fried chicken confrontation. Miss Mayonnaise is suing Sharkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, Kimberly Kumquat. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bang-Her has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Want to do some totally unnecessary shit like mountain jump with a fly suit on? Then head over to whitepeopleshit.com.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Swim with sharks. It's a blast. Make memories that last.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Yo, what's up? We back. News desk. Took a day off or so. Yo, what up, chat? I see you in here. Yo, no news, yeah. Yo, you seen I reshared a whole bunch of your Jones on the community tab. You was killing them with them AI ads, and I done turned them Jones into drops and screensavers for the shows. We're gonna be using them Jones. This wig wash shit is crazy. Yeah, man. No, good shit, right? No, I done jazzed up a couple skins for for the show, for the news desk. Since this has become popular, yeah. If y'all been keeping an eye on the channel, I restreamed a bunch of them joints during the day. Because we got so many of them now. Because I go on every night, so we're probably going to be streaming doing a lot of restreams for people to catch during the day. You know, we got a huge subscriber base. A lot of that is from the short stream. I'm trying to convert a lot of them into long form viewers. But I got a good show lined up tonight. We got my boy JDVance. We got Byron Donalds. I want to touch on Trump and the cartels. But I do want to start the night off with I'm a big fan of Scott Jennings. Primarily because he be handing these Democrats and liberals their heads on CNN, the Chinese news network, and everybody knows him from Abby Phillips' News at Night. He's actually got a YouTube channel now. It's starting to grow. I think he's at close to 10,000 subscribers now, and so I've been keeping an eye on his channel. But let's do this Abby Phillips segment. So we can see some back and forth. Red Sigma, you're next. I'm about to reshare all your shit, pull your shit down, and use them as skins too. Cause bro, you've been killing them lately too. A lot of this is, man, I be trying to keep up with everything everybody send me, man. Shout out to the subscribers, man. They've been really helping hold down the channel and helping with new content. Like this news desk is a subscriber's idea. I got a layover skin that I made for the news desk. Let me know if y'all can hear me talking while I have the skin over. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me while I'm talking with this layover skin. Put a 1 in the chat. Because I made this one for the show for me to have it as a backdrop sometime when I'm talking. Because it looks good. So you can't hear me, right? All right, bet. We in business. All right. Yeah, I made this news desk skin. We kind of built news desk while we built the plane while we was flying this joint. So I'm starting to make it cosmetically sexy and everything as we go along. We just was going on strong with it. All right, bet. Let's hop into this Abby Phillips segment with my man Scott Jennings, and then we'll take it down from here. Let's go.
Happening right now, a show of force by the world's autocrats. China's Xi Jinping is flexing his massive military might with a parade in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. And on the guest list tonight is Russian President Vladimir Putin, North Korea's Kim Jong-un. And their message is a challenge to the U.S.-led world order. The three of them increase.
Yo, what up? Universal Black in the building. Salute, bro. Matter of fact, this is a good time for me to do it's late nights. Let's just do a Craig Ferguson late night drop. Let me test my drops out too. Comedy break.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
All right, but let's go.
Increasingly interested in working together rather than cozy up to Donald Trump. Now, remember, last month, we saw Trump standing next to Putin as he tried to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, giving the president of both countries just days to hash things out. But that deadline has come and gone, and there have been no results, and Trump is not happy about it.
I'm very disappointed in him. He and I always had a great relationship. I'm very disappointed. Thousands of people are dying. I'm very disappointed in President Putin. I can say that. And we'll be doing something to help.
Yo, what up, Kwame? I see you, Playboy. Yo, I seen you in the chat earlier doing some of the restreams during the day. I I'm just restreaming some of these late night news joints during the daytime hours because we got so many of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's good content for the channel during the day. Everybody knows for nighttime. But salute Kwame in the building. Let's do a Craig Ferguson drop.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
Let's go.
People live.
That was, in fact, Scott Jennings, whose face you saw there before the president was speaking. But Scott, who could have thought, who could have guessed that Vladimir Putin was not serious about peace with you?
I just want to say, the liberals and the Democrats, I don't think they really understand how bad the optics are of them actively, nonstop, rooting against diplomacy, rooting against a peace deal, and really rooting against like anything domestic or foreign policy related via this administration to fail, because by those things failing, in turn, the country fails. I think they're kind of removed from the general sentiment of the American public.
Ukraine, and that this summit was not going to produce the results that you and Trump thought it would.
Well, I mean, I think he thought he should try. I mean, the alternative was not to try, so he tried. And now Putin is doing what, you know, many people thought was possible, which is not be serious, not follow through on the commitments they thought he made in Alaska and in some follow-up phone calls when they had the Europeans at the White House. So, look, I tend to be somebody who thinks it's worth trying to create peace deals.
It was entirely predictable. I mean, I think this is the problem. Everybody knew that this was what Putin was going to do. They said so from the get-go. The only people saying that Trump was a genius and that this was going to be all totally different were folks like you two and Donald Trump, perhaps.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure that even President Trump said things were going to be totally different. He said that he was giving the opportunity for things to be totally different. But let's be real about this. 6 months ago, everybody would have celebrated on the left and in the center and on my part of the right if President Trump had said, we're going to maintain arms shipments to Ukraine and we might consider further sanctions on Russia. And actually, we're not going to force Ukraine into a bad settlement. Okay, so Trump hasn't done.
I didn't even know Ben Shapiro was on this segment. How much time we got left on this? This might get nasty between Ben and Scott. Or look at Abby's face.
Any of the things that everybody thought he was going to do in January of 2025. And now we're ripping him for what, not being hawkish enough? It's kind of funny how the goalposts move every time Trump moves. Trump is heterodox, but he is responsive to reality.
The goalposts have moved.
Facts. That is a good point, Ben. Trump, this is a heterodox strategy. He's responding to what's going on the ground. Well played. Let me turn my soundboard up.
Except that Trump has moved that. He said that he was going to end the war in 24 hours. That was obviously not going to happen. He also said that he didn't want to fund Ukraine. And now he's found a backdoor way to doing that by allowing the Europeans to do it. So I don't know that the
Trump is Russian.
Yeah, but finding a backdoor way to let the Europeans fund the war, we're not against that. That's not taxpayer dollars going to Ukraine. And that was the meeting with the EU being like, look, we want this war to end. We bring everybody to the table. You guys hash it out. But for the record, we're not going to side with Russia, but we're through putting U.S. dollars in this. You guys push for Ukraine and NATO. You guys pay for it. You guys pay for it. That's what was forcing NATO to pay their contribution to the war effort and to their own defense. So even that on the table is a win because that's not taxpayer dollars going to fund the Ukraine war. Yeah,
the narrative was untrue. No, but the Trump was a Russian tool who's going to come in, who's going to sell out the Ukrainians, who's going to make Vladimir Zelensky give away everything, the entire store.
Well,
Has
he
he
was
done those
kind
things?
of headed in that direction, but he pulled back, to his credit. Look, I'm going to say this. I think that it's a good thing when you have a president who wants to approach something diplomatically at first. And if that doesn't work, then you look at other options. I think that he's actually doing something kind of smart. It's very subtle, but he's kind of moving the U.S. responsibility of helping Ukraine to the Europeans.
Bang, I just said that. I haven't seen this segment. That's what I just said.
And that's good.
And
That's
you
a
know
good
what?
thing.
And you know what? The Ukrainians right now are talking about a post-war future where they have this multi-billion-dollar defense build up that will be funded by the Europeans. I think the EU commissioner said Ukraine should become a steel porcupine that's undigestible by anyone. But again, what you said is true. It's not going to be fully the U.S. responsibility.
Exactly.
What Trump has
have-
somehow done is built a larger and better funded coalition to help support them.
Let's just be honest, Van. I promise I'll let you. But let's just be honest about what's happening here. Is that everybody told Donald Trump what was going to happen, and he had to find out himself, which is fine. He did find out, and to his credit, did change course, but not because it was not foreseeable by other people who know a lot about.
Yes, but again,
I'm happy to dunk on Trump for falling on his face if that's kind of what we want to do. But I think we're going to look back on today historically as a very big deal, because
I know Van Jones gets some tissue, right? Yo, you're right about that, Black. I need to get that Van Jones clip and make that into a continuous. The Van Jones crying man drop. Yeah, we need the Van Jones crying man drop. Yeah, we need to do that.
that image of Xi Jinping with Putin, with Modi from India, with the leader of Iran, with the leader of North Korea, that should send a chill down the spine of every American. That is a new world order.
Multipolar.
I hate that when they have Van Jones and these guys out there like that. They just make the image of black men be so. He's so scared of everything. Oh, I saw some people together, bro. It's a horrible image, and like I said, he's the crying man. We're gonna play some Byron Donalds later. I know some people don't like that he's from Jamaican descent, but as far as just pushing a conservative line, he's one of the best that does it and handling the press.
Hey, they call it multipolar. I call it the West is now in a box. Don't forget, everybody doesn't like Henry Kissinger, but he did figure out a way to get us on the right side of the triangle. So it was United States.
The West isn't in a box. Has anybody just forgot what happened with Iran? Do you know we're the only people and only country on the planet with that type of military capability? I think we need to secure the homeland, and the international situation will take care of itself as long as we don't put any boots on the ground in any wars overseas.
And China together and Russia by itself. Now we're on the bad end of the triangle. It's everybody against us. That is not good for America. That is not good for Democrats, Republicans. And I think we've got that image is a feather in Putin's cap. It is a dagger.
And bear in mind, Van Jones has been wrong about everything for basically the last 6 years.
Pointed at the heart of the West.
All right, got to leave it there, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Coming up, thousands of Jeffrey Epstein files have just...
All right, Bet, let's jump to this next segment really quickly. Let me load up this next segment. All right, Bet. Matter of fact, here's another late night drop.
I played a midwife, and it meant that I was going to be elbow deep in as the entire time I was shooting.
I'm listening.
Seriously, I showed up to work one day, and nobody bothered to warn me that somebody was giving birth, and she was actually going to be.
What? Well, it was an actress pretending.
But she was like, she took off her underwear, and I was kneeling, and she was standing.
Slower.
And the camera was behind her, and my face was in her.
Yeah, well, this is the greatest movie I've ever heard of.
It was scary.
Yeah, no, I know. The first time you see one, they're pretty frightening, but but soon you learn to love them.
All right, bet. Yeah. All right, so the number is rising. 320K BW laid off. Love to see it. Love to see it. And bear in mind, there are layoffs all across all industries. Think Amazon's laying off like 15,000 employees, and that's even that's not just the warehouses. That's on the corporate side too, developers, et cetera, et cetera. But the one thing that the 300K number with the BW shows you is that they are pretty much non-essential workers in the economy. How about that? Red Sigma says Van Jones got $100 million, from Jeff Bezos to bet to help get black people out of prison in 2024. Has Jones helped anybody? No. He did another. This is another. What do you call it? Nonprofit industrial complex of them laundering and funneling money with the using black men or etc. as the face for it, but we never receive any benefits. But even with that, Trump helped back that play, believe it or not. But as far as real prison reform, the only person to actually ever do it was Trump, by the way. Universal Black, 4,000 laid off in sales first. Facts, Red Sigma. Another BLM move. 100%.
Shit. Got your ass.
All right, let's go. This one is Trump taking some military action close to the off the coastal waters of the states with regard to the cartels. The war's heating up. We just changed Department of Defense back to the Department of War. But let's do this McNamania segment on Trump blowing up these cartel boats, and let's get some media commentary.
Every boatload of any form of drug that poisons the American people is a imminent threat. At the DOD, our job is to defeat imminent threats. A foreign terrorist organization poisoning your people with drugs coming from a drug cartel is no different than Al-Qaeda. We smoked the drug boat, and there's 11 narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same.
No, you're right. Trump and Kim Kardashian. Yeah, that is correct. Kim Kardashian actually helped get a lot of black men out of jail. To her credit, he said they need an NAACP award.
Fate.
Sending quite a message to Venezuela and the cartels. President Trump committing more assets to counter foreign cartels while Democrats are vilifying him, claiming he did not act within his legal authority when he authorized military force to decimate that alleged drug peddling speedboat, which was headed directly for the United States. Meanwhile, the Trump administration says those allegations are a farce and that Tuesday's strike was only the beginning for those looking to terrorize the United States of America. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-host, Harris Faulkner. Also joining us, Nicole Parker. Not Nicole Parker. Oh, my goodness. That is Dr. Nicole Sapphire. We got that one wrong.
Nicole Parker. She's wonderful.
We love you both. Two great Nicoles. I'll take either one. And Rosanna Scotto, Fox 5 New York anchor and host of The Underground Economy on Fox Nation. And Guy Benson, Fox News contributor and host of The Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio. Well, let's start here. Secretary of State Marco Rubio gave praise to President Trump for going on offense, saying the attack was life-saving and a legal use of his presidential authority.
This one was operating in international waters, headed towards the United States to flood our country with poison. And under President Trump, those days are over.
Well, Trump has spent months trying to undo what Biden failed to do for the last 4 years. Now, according to the NIH, there were over 400,000 overdose deaths under former President Biden. Think about that, 400,000 Americans gone. And Democrats won't give Trump the recognition because they're
I've made this argument before. I'm a student in history. If anyone's familiar with the opium wars that the British waged against China. This is very similar. I'm from Philly. In the whole Kensington, Frankfurt area, it's all zombies. Those are opioids. Case in point, so the fentanyl and all of that, laced with the drugs and all of that, it's an opium derivative. All the materials to make fentanyl and all that comes from China. So this is China learning from its past of what actually happened to China. And the British were able to pretty much just walk in because they flooded China with opium. There are opium addicts everywhere. They're doing the exact same thing to us. So this war on the cartels and the border security, that's a real thing. This opium thing, this fentanyl thing is actually a, what do you call it, like a soft power, like invasion and assault on the country. Like I said, I'm from Philly. I've seen it firsthand in Philadelphia. I mean, they're walking zombies, bro. Like the Walking Dead type shit. All linked though. It's crazy. If you haven't seen it in mass, like you don't really understand. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're mobs of them, and they're just, they clear them out. I think it's worse than the crack. I think it's worse than the crack thing. With what you got fentanyl coming in from Canada, from the border. Cartels are making billions of dollars. A lot of that money is also funding China. You have all of these politicians paid off. Like they're lining their pockets. Everyone's getting paid, but it's degrading the. We already see the results of a weakening male population in the United States across all ethnicities, and the type of young men and men it's producing, and how weak the moral fiber and social fiber of the country is becoming. That's why in part, where all this manosphere content came from, I mean, the bulk of it is like the late era Gen Zs, for the most part, and then it goes down. But us being like, yo, there's something going on, there's something wrong, and that's where a lot of these conversations came from. I mean, a big argument could be made that we're helping save the social fabric of the United States, and these conversations led to a Trump administration, which is helping to roll some of this back. It's all connected.
Too busy pandering to the criminals, like Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, who famously sat down for some drinks with MS-13 member Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Well, Van Hollen didn't stop there. Listen to this beauty from MSNBC.
Am I crazy? Am I wrong here that this seems to violate both U.S. and international law?
Chris, you're absolutely right. What this was an extrajudicial killing, pure and simple. It was illegal. I think the Trump administration just wanted to get a video of a boat blowing up because they did that at the same time they're cutting the federal budget when it comes to actual drug enforcement and serious drug trafficking.
Dr. Sapphire. So this was all about Trump wanting to get a video. Van Hollen uses the term, this is illegal on many counts. And we'll get to the law in a moment. I have that ready to go. Illegal on many counts. I want to bring up another count. It's one we just showed in the intro. It's the 400,000 Americans who have died of fentanyl. 400,000 daughters, sons, brothers, sisters not here because an attack, I'm going to call it an attack, on the United States, drug smuggling across our border and over our seas.
You know, the Wall Street Journal essentially did a hit piece on the Trump administration over this, and they quoted Juan Gonzalez, who was part of the Biden administration, saying that they needed to show legitimate self-defense for this attack and saying he did not do this. And just as you pointed out, 80,000 Americans died of drug overdoses last year. That's more than car accidents and homicides combined. That's more than the 23,000 worldwide deaths from terrorist attacks in 2023. So the way I see it, drugs coming into our country is the biggest national security threat we have. And yes, maybe we have a slight decrease in the drug overdose deaths, which people are celebrating. The reality is this is not a victory. This is just a temporary reprieve from the expanded use of naloxone. We have always played defense when it comes to drug overdose. We are plugging holes, we are fixing walls, we are getting drugs, and we are having to clean up all of these overdoses. The time is now that we go on the offensive when it comes to drug cartels, and President Trump is doing just that.
Yo, facts, Red Sigma. He said, right now China has the minds of all the youth. They can program them however they want. This isn't sci-fi. TikTok is addictive. That is a fact. And the version of TikTok is a Chinese app. The version of TikTok that is available in China is nothing like the content you see over here in the States. And like I said, I live This is I came back in 2017, but I lived in Beijing for 2 years, and the Chinese firewall is real. You can't get on the main internet, Facebook, or any of that without a VPN. So the type of content you can see on the internet in China is very restricted. All of this risque U.S. Propaganda and all of that. You can't get any of that, and it's a lot of the content leans towards education, family, military. China knows what's going on. They've banned all effeminate male like videos, music videos, any type of commercials. Like in the last 2 years, they've banned them all through China, and it's like it was in the 80s for us here in the U.S. Remember, everything was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo movies, G.I. Joe. You got to remember, it was during the Cold War. They were trying to cultivate young American soldiers.
You know, I want to get to the law too, Guy. Article 1, Section 8 gives Congress the power to declare war. But there are a slew of Office of Legal Counsel opinions. That's not binding authority, but they cite binding authority going back to 1980 that illustrate the president's expansive power with foreign affairs. I want to pull up this memo from 1980. The president's inherent constitutional authority as commander-in-chief, his broad foreign policy power, and his duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed generally empower him to deploy the armed forces abroad without a declaration of war by Congress or other congressional authorization. It goes on, and there's much more nuance. This will have to be litigated by the Supreme Court. Nevertheless, he has broad authority to act.
As a commander-in-chief, as all presidents do, I'm not an expert on international law or his presidential authority in this narrow context. I would like to see that debate play out. I also wouldn't mind seeing Congress actually vote on this, because I would love to see who would vote no, who would look at this type of action from the United States and say, no, we actually want to protect these drug traffickers and cartel members. That's a vote that I would welcome, actually, on Capitol Hill. I think there's clearly a deterrence here. Right, because Senator Van Hollen, who has a completely screwed up moral compass, whether it's Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Israel, Hamas, he's really disgraced himself in recent years. So the fact that he's hardcore against this, I think, is almost an argument in favor of it. But, you know, he's going to make the case like, oh, this is just a photo op. Well, it's not a photo op to the drug smugglers who are now at the bottom of the ocean, number one. And number two, it's not just going to be consumed, that video here at home. You think the cartels didn't pay attention to what they saw in that video? Might that change their conduct and their decision making? I think that would be at least part of the calculus here that was completely dismissed in the clip that we watched.
I love the idea of the vote because, Harris, I could name a few that I'm just going to surmise might vote against this. Maybe all of the senators we watched on the Hill yesterday in the RFK hearing, maybe Sanders, maybe Warren, definitely Van Hollen. We could come up with a list.
Yeah, it becomes a midterm issue then, which is fascinating. Yeah. So a couple things. First of all, what you were talking about, Nicole, in terms of how much we have put into the survivability of these overdoses because there's so much of this illicit drug use on our streets. I think that's important to say. We have slowed things down at the border, but there's a tremendous amount of that product already here in the United States. We have many more lives to protect and save because of what happened under the Biden administration and for even years before that, but precipitously bad under Biden. But then you've got to figure out, well, okay, why is the president sending 10 F-fighters to the Caribbean, to Puerto Rico, to base them there for a little while? Well, because these are cartels that are just going to do what they do. They're going to figure out a new avenue in.
They're already getting smarter. They already have new ways of coming in.
Absolutely. And that corridor up to that part of our United States, you heard Marco Rubio, our now Secretary of State, then Senator of Florida when he was dealing with it, right? I mean, they know that when they come up through the Caribbean, Florida's going to get hit. Come on. We've got to gear up for this. I love the way that the former AG of Florida, Ashley Moody, now Senator, put it last hour. She said, this president has new ideas. She begged Biden to come up with new ways. He wouldn't do it. Trump is doing it now.
Rosanna Hegseth, we heard him at the beginning.
Facts. Red Sigma says, China's having a masculinity problem. This really shows the globalization of feminism, where aspects of this snake their way into even restrictive cultures. Oh yeah, there's tons of. I was actually surprised how much China red pill content is coming out of China. But the one thing with that, the one thing with that is Chinese men are not American men. And you can see, like, with the backlash on it, they're just going full ruthless. I think certain cultures of men are willing to take things a lot further than, at least currently, American men are. Although things are starting to bend our way a bit, I think the smartest play was men in general, because most men are trending conservative, backing the laws that are in their favor. And shout out to Red Sigma. I ain't gonna give you your drop with the $2 super chat supporting the stream. Appreciate you, bro. Let's do a drop. Let's do a drop.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. Man, fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. Man, fuck all you hoes. Man, fuck all you hoes.
All right, bet. Let's let me load up another segment, and let me see let's do. What do I got? Let's do the jobs report real quick. Let's do the jobs report, because that just came out, and I want Kudlow's take on it. Because although Kudlow is Republican, he always plays the numbers down the middle, as he should. And his economic analysis is generally spot on. Yo, I got my overlay on. Put a 1 in the chat. Make sure. Let me see if you can hear me. I'm testing this new overlay out. All right, bet. Let's see. Bang. Let's do Kudlow.
All right, folks, what about the dollar in the middle of all this? That's the subject of the riff. Now, today's disappointing employment report shows that private sector jobs have been essentially flat over the past 3 months. Manufacturing employment actually declined modestly the last 4 months. It's a stall speed. Now, today's disappointing employment report shows that private sector jobs have been essentially flat over the past 3 months. Manufacturing employment actually declined modestly the last 4 months. It's a stall speed jobs report, to use Chris Waller's phrase, but it's not a recession report. Business investment in capital goods and factory orders are booming. In a few months, middle-income workers will reap the benefits of Trump.
All right, and for the record, I'm just going. I'm going over this piece of the jobs report that came out. I'm having Kudlow do his analysis on it, because it's about to turn into a liberal talking point. Oh, the economy is so bad, and because believe it or not, well, sure you know, you can actually talk you can actually talk up an economic downturn from mainstream media if you push it out, irregardless of the irregardless of the positive economic indicators that are going on. And this goes to my previous arguments that I've been making with regard to Jerome Powell and the Fed not lowering the interest rates and basically trying to hold. I think he's out in September. It's September right now. So he basically, as I said he was going to do, he was going to try and hold with these interest rates all the way out, all the way until he is forced to, his term is up. And he was doing it as a political move to either force Trump to waste political capital and fire him, or if he can hold out long enough, they are hoping that irregardless of all the positive things that are going on with Trump's tariff policy, doging the government, cutting government spending, et cetera, given enough time that some aspect of the economy would fail, and with the interest rates still being high, they're basically trying to stunt Trump's economy from growing, and also trying to force a inadvertent collapse of some segment of the political, of the economic, of one of the economic indicators, and push us into a recession or what have you, all for political gain. They just don't mind tanking the economy just to see Trump's administration not succeed. That being said, with this new jobs report coming out, they're going to try and make political hay of it. They're also leaving out that they still haven't lowered the interest rates. They've got a mortgage fraud person, governor on the Fed, et cetera. And so yeah, let's let Kudlow do the analysis, because I watched this and I agree with Kudlow's analysis on the jobs report. So let me run a bit of that back. There we go.
Actually declined modestly the last 4 months. It's a stall speed jobs report, to use Chris Waller's phrase, but it's not a recession report. Business investment in capital goods and factory orders are booming. And in a few months, middle-income workers will reap the benefits of Trumpian tax cuts on tips and overtime and Social Security benefits. As I have suggested, the economy, both present and future, is stronger than folks may think. Unsurprisingly, President responded with a brief truth social. You heard it from Ed Lawrence. Jerome, too late. Powell should have lowered rates long ago. As usual, he's too late.
Spot on. I've been hollering about interest rates since before the election.
Well, so hopefully too late. Powell will get the Fed funds target rate down to 3% from its current 4.5%. Get it down there by the end of this year. But the bigger story, I think, is perhaps best summarized in the Wall Street Journal headline: Trump is making strides in his takeover of the Fed. CEA Chair Steve Byron taking a leave of absence in order to temporarily fill a Fed seat on the Board of Governors. And another Wall Street Journal headline: DOJ opens criminal investigation into Fed's Cook, issues subpoenas. That's right. That one tells the sad tale of Fed member Lisa Cook's alleged repeated mortgage fraud lies, which has caused President Trump to fire her. The upshot of all this likelihood that by the end of the year, there will be 4 Trump appointees in the 7-member Federal Reserve Board. In other words, a big change. And outlining what this major Fed change might look like is today's op-ed piece, published this afternoon in the Wall Street Journal by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And the title of that one is "The Fed's Gain of Function Monetary Policy." It's a very strong piece, no question. Basically, Mr. Bessent argues that the Fed's monetary lab experiments of the past 15 years or so have gone badly wrong. They badly overreached their remit by monetizing huge budget deficits, repeatedly erring in their forecasts, failing to keep inflation.
Facts. He's spot on. It could be argued that Jerome Powell is one of the most politicized Fed chairs in recent history. As soon as he came in, he was backing all these Green New Deal initiatives. The Fed's job is monetary policy, interest rates, et cetera, et cetera. And so basically he came in fully politicized. And now that it's time for him to lower interest rates, and he's serving an administration that clearly is politically opposed to, now he's making the argument for Fed autonomy, et cetera. When he said, and he still has his hand on the scale. But it is September. He's on his way out, and Lisa Cook is on her way out, hopefully with some sort of indictment. Because these big bad Keisha DEIs in these high positions need to be made examples out of.
Down, over-regulating, overstaffing, and over-politicizing. And in so doing, Powell and company have mangled Fed independence and credibility. Curiously, however, Mr. Bessent neglects to mention the dollar. But what about the dollar? Now, strictly speaking, the dollar is the remit of the Treasury Department that Mr. Bessent currently runs. But of course, it's the Fed that controls the supply of dollars. I would argue a steady and reliable dollar is the key to achieving price stability. And price stability is the key to achieving rapid economic growth and low unemployment. However,
spot on.
Pre-COVID, all right, when you measure against a basket of currencies like the CRB index, the dollar's value has actually fallen by about 35%. When measured against gold, the dollar's value has fallen by more than 125%. These are not sustainable trends if we hope to keep the greenback as the world's reserve currency. Now, Mr. Bessent does mention the Fed's balance sheet, which is the key to creating or extinguishing dollars, but he never seems to mention the currency itself. Hopefully, this failure will change when the central bank comes under new management. And that's the riff. All right.
Well played, Mr. Kudlow. I agree with his analysis. I agree with that analysis 100%. Let's do a Craig Ferguson drop and do the next segment.
I played a midwife, and it meant that I was going to be elbow deep in vaginas the entire time I was shooting.
I'm listening.
Seriously, I showed up to work one day, and nobody bothered to warn me that somebody was giving birth, and she was actually going to be naked.
What? Well, it was an actress pretending.
But she was, like, she took off her underwear, and I was kneeling, and she was standing.
Slower.
And the camera was behind her, and my face was in her.
Yeah, well, this is the greatest movie I've ever heard of.
It was scary.
Yeah, no, I know. The first time you see one, they're pretty frightening, but soon you learn to love them.
All right, bet. Let's do our Byron. Let's do Byron Donalds segment, and this is with regard to the recent ICE raids at a Georgia Hyundai mega plant. So they're raiding these employers. The ICE crackdown is real and legit, irregardless of all the sanctuary city policies and the lawsuits coming from the Democratic Party. So let's get a piece of this segment.
Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican from Florida, joins me now. Congressman, are you okay with this? A mass roundup of illegals, not all of whom or any of whom were violent criminals. You okay?
Yes, this is what the president won his campaign and his mandate on. Stuart, Joe Biden let in more than 10 million illegal aliens from 184 countries. The reporter just said about 30 of them were from South Korea. And so this is not just a Central America, South America issue. This is a global issue. Joe Biden opened our borders. We cannot hold all these people in the United States.
Okay, perfect. Where's my gong drop for the liberal talking point? Are you guys happy? We got some South Koreans. These don't qualify as black and brown people. Illegals being deported. We got some Koreans. You guys, you liberal crybabies happy? Yo, salute Hashim. What's up with you, Playboy? Thanks for stopping by, man. We just doing some news, man. Shit. This is an excuse for me to do an extra drop. We got an extra person in the chat.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
All right, let's go.
And if you have a job site where that many illegal aliens are on the job site, what that's also doing is depressing the cost and the value of labor of the American people. And so, yeah, we're going to have to go through this process. There's a lot of people that have to go home, especially those that came in over the last 4 years under Joe Biden. It was a disaster for the country. That's why Donald Trump has a mandate to do this, and he's going to see it through.
But would you favor any kind of carve out for a specific industry, like farming, for example? Carve out.
I've been.
Go ahead.
Stu, I've been consistent on this one. It can't be carve outs. Our immigration system has been so bastardized by the Democrats that if you now start doing carve outs, what it incentivizes is that some future Democrat administration is going to open the borders again. What that's going to do, it's going to actually make budgets in every community in our country tougher, because you're going to have more illegal aliens in our country who are in the cracks getting public assistance. It's going to make the cost of labor actually go down, because you'll have illegal labor in the United States that you don't have to pay as much as you would an American worker. And so those are two of the major issues why you can't allow for.
And this is why who was it? New Glory I was going back and forth with about 2 weeks ago. This is why we mess with Byron, at least on these general issues. Reparations issue aside. And he's from Brooklyn, Jamaican descent, but he's not tethering on the topic with the immigration. He's making arguments for and actually hardline arguments regarding the immigration issue. He's not making any concessions for Haitians, Jamaicans, et cetera, any illegals here in the country. And like I said, when we get to the reparations argument, we can get to the reparations argument. But as far as chips on the table and that we're playing with now, very solid arguments, pushing the hard line. We like it. When that issue of the fight comes up, we can fight. Oh, what up, Detroit? I see you in the building. Detroit 313. Yo, what up with you, Playboy? Good to see you in the chat. Here you go. All right, let's go. We're at the tail end of this. Let's go.
Illegal immigration to proliferate. If you start doing carve-outs, all you're saying is it's okay that you came in illegally, because now you're basically digging a trench or building a building. It's not okay. It's not right. We have to be consistent with upholding the law.
Florida Senator Rick Scott, he does not like the state ending Florida all vaccine mandates. Where do you stand on this?
Well, look, I think what happened yesterday is I think the state is even rolling that back some. I think that parents should be the ones making these decisions when it comes to the vaccinations and vaccination schedules. I think something that they should look at is actually stretching out the vaccine schedule. One of the big things, I have 3 sons, and when they were going through the vaccine schedule, you have an infant getting 4, 5, 6 shots inside of their first month of life. And I think we should be re-examining all of those things. Do I think they're going to end all vaccine mandates? No, I don't. Because a lot of that stuff has to go through the legislature. We'll see what happens. Take a vaccine like measles, mumps, and rubella. I think it's pretty clear at this point, there's not going to be an end to a requirement for that to go to schools. But I do think that some of the non-statutory vaccines, they need to take a long, hard look at that. I think the governor's office is starting that already. Maybe we should pull back some of those. We'll see what these goes. But at the end of the day, parents need to be making these decisions. It's their children. It's not the state's children. It's the parents' children.
Just so long as skepticism over, like the measles vaccine, doesn't lead to a lack of pickup on the vaccine and you get yourself a new outbreak of measles. So long as that doesn't happen. Congressman, always a pleasure. We'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Byron Donalds. Thanks, sir.
All right, spot on. All right, let me load up my next segment. All right, good. We're making good time. We're at the 1 hour, 5 minute mark. I think I'm going to do Vance. Am I going to do Vance next? Let me see. No, let's do this. Let's do one more CNN segment, and this is regarding Chicago. I want to do this one, and then we'll do. Oh, I'll do 2 more. I got time for. I think I'll buy the numbers if Kwame's in here. I know. Quiet Storm's in Miami for the conclave. A matter of fact, I got here. I'm going to do a piece of this one. I found another. I've been trying to keep track of these guys, all these black content creators that do political and news commentary. And I really didn't know there were this many. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I'm still testing out my overlay. I didn't know that there were this many. But I found another guy, Brian Maxwell. He's got 213,000 subscribers. So that's why I keep saying, man, I'm in the right niche. We're gonna double down on this side. Hey, you guys like the new overlay for me talking? I made a news desk overlay. I think it looks good. You let me know in the chat because we've been designing this show pretty much based on chat feedback. We got the by the numbers segment because Quiet Storm and Kwame Kaju like it. So this is my overlay. This is the fresh overlay we made. All right, bet, and you guys can hear me talking perfect. All right, all right, Pritzker it is. So let's do the CNN panel. One, this is about Illinois and the some of these talking points regarding Trump sending troops into Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. And they've got another Republican strategist. He's a black guy. I like this guy too. I've seen him on a couple panels, and he's good on his feet and arguing. And since we are in the business of media analysis and making arguments, I like it when guys show up good. So a comparison and contrast. So we saw Van Jones earlier, right, on the earlier segment, and then when you see Byron Donalds on his segment, you know what I'm saying? Like that's logical reasoning, sharp, no nonsense, intelligible on the issues. That's the ethnic image I want to see. Kevin was Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, was spot on and way ahead of himself with talking to the brothers about protecting their ethnic image. He was spot on with that. So yeah, we're gonna load up this next segment. Here you go. Here's a shout out to No News Podcast. Here's a no reach back ad. All right, let's go. Where my sound? Let's go.
Where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. He has no idea what he's talking about. There is no emergency that warrants deployment of troops. He is insulting the people of Chicago by calling our home a hellhole. And anyone who takes his word at face value is insulting Chicagoans too.
Pritzker also says he has reason to believe that the Trump administration has already begun staging the Texas National Guard for deployment to his state. Lulu Garcia Navarro, Sir Michael Singleton out front. So Lulu, you can hear the intensity in his voice. And
Hashim says they should have hired you for the Music for Adults film. Bro, I'm with it. Yeah, you're right. And that lo-fi hip-hop go hard. Man, you know about shit. If you know anybody want video and audio production for anything, man, tell them to shoot me an email, bro. I do this.
I just want to say, though, in terms of what he's saying, it is a new level of fury from Governor Pritzker. Right? He hasn't shied away from a fight. He hasn't shied away from this fight. He likes a fight. But this is different. What he was saying about Trump was different.
It is different. And I think Governor Pritzker feels like it's warranted.
Now, I want you to pay attention to something. This is Lulu Garcia Navarro. They be playing in your faces, bro. Arguing about not sending troops and upping ICE presence and federal agency presence in Chicago, right? And she's making an argument that, it's racist against black people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Look at her middle and last name. So she's using, and they be playing in your face, the care and concern for the quote-unquote black community, et cetera, and black civil rights as a proxy to really not have ICE agents there actually doing the deportations, et cetera, and cleaning up, because Chicago is a sanctuary city. And this is why I'm so against identity politics, because the identity politics game allows them to basically co-opt all the civil rights protections afforded at such and co-opt them for their own purposes. Look at her name. So I want you to bear that in mind when you listen to her arguments. And then we got the Republican strategist who's the brother over there, and he does a good job dismantling these arguments on the Chinese news network, CNN.
I mean, let's put this into the context of what has historically happened in this country. You normally do not have a president essentially saying that he's going to send in troops to a city of the same country, right? I mean, if you look at this, this is punishment and not policy. Policy for crime would be like, I'm going to give you more money. I'm going to surge the police. I'm going to do things to help you tackle crime. This is aimed squarely at states and governors he doesn't like. I read something in the FT the other day, which said if this was happening in any other country, they would paint this as, basically a president targeting opposition members in cities.
Once again, They tried to assassinate this dude. Like, they invented lawfare against him. How many cases did this dude have open at one time? Like close to 100 cases against him while he was running. They tried to take him off the ballot. This type of gaslight doesn't work anymore. Oh man, this freeze frame did not do the chick in the middle any justice. Look at that. She looks constipated. Yeah, Red Sigma. Yeah, like you caught the getcha gotcha. You know what I'm saying? You caught that? And that's why we do, this is actually why we do these news this news show. It's more, it's content, but it's actually more so a public service. We're doing this for the public because stuff like this needs to be happen in real time. This type of news analysis off the cuff and just a conversation around it. I think it makes it far more difficult for the mainstream media to indoctrinate at least our constituency and turn them into NPCs
that he doesn't control. I mean, it just isn't American. This isn't the way we do things here.
Yes, sure, Mike. I think Lulu does have a fair point here, right? You would say if this were another country targeting opposition, right? Targeting his opposition leaders, opposition locations, certainly if Putin were doing it. Because the reality of it is that if this were really about crime, why is Trump not doing it in any Republican-led?
And this is a fallacious argument, and it's almost some of the like even how they set these panels up, it's theater. So they got she's Hispanic background, and then they've got the black man, and they're delivering the argument to him like he's an idiot, like almost like insulting his intelligence, right? Like he can't see the duplicity of this. So let's listen to old boy's response.
Cities or states.
Look, I would do it wherever the crime is concentrated. It's objectively true that there are pockets of the city of Chicago that do have high concentrations of crime. We can't deny that. Look, is this a long-term strategy? Absolutely not. But it is a temporary fix. The president using the bully pulpit rather to put a spotlight on crime in Chicago, I think makes sense. We're discussing it. The mayor of DC just signed an act today allowing local police to work indefinitely with federal law enforcement because what they have seen is.
Look at the Latina chick's face. You see that? Do you see that? And the one in the middle keep getting froze like she's constipated. Look at the Latina chick's face. She is mad. And she gets the gong. She is mad because they couldn't do the okey doke 1-2 on him with the goofy argument, right? And look at her face, and the one in the green. Look how upset they are when the intelligent black man makes a well-argued argument. It was almost like it was a setup joint, and he's just going off the cuff answering. She is not happy with that response. She get the gong face.
A decrease to a number of 0 in terms of murders in the city of DC. Why would that not be a good thing? In Labor Day just passed, for example, 58 people were shot in Chicago. 8 of those people killed. The youngest, who is now in critical condition, is a teenager. So, Aaron, to me, you may not necessarily like what the president is doing, but how in the world could any sane person not agree that trying to make safer communities for people who live in some of those higher concentrated?
Look at them. Let me tell you, bro. They hate a non-Van Jones, a non like a well-reasoned. Well, look at their faces.
Is not something that
who told you to be smart.
It should be a bipartisan effort.
So Lulu, the DC mayor, to the point that Michael's just saying, Muriel Bowser, she's just issued an executive order that requires coordination with federal law enforcement to the maximum extent allowable.
And she's mad because he brought up the point about the DC mayor actually issuing an order to do continued collaboration with federal law enforcement. That's why she was. So now she's got to address it. Yo, look at the stank faces on them, dog. Red Sigma, yeah, gaslighting is out of gas. This is what look. They get the gong face. Oh, gong face.
By law, in the words of her order, without an expiration date. And she did just days ago admit that Trump's crackdown in D.C. was reducing crime. So what does it make? What does it mean that she has essentially, it sounds like, said, well, they can stay as long as they want and work with them?
I think it means that she's probably not going to be reelected as mayor of D.C. because if
She like, she decided to vote for Trump, to work with Trump. We're going to make sure she doesn't get elected again. And once again, Lulu Garcia Navarro, right? Speaking so confidently that this, look at, oh, you know what? I stopped it at the right place. Look at the chick in the middle. She like, yep, she's not going to get elected for working with Trump. You see how they can make these decisions about these Keisha's political career if they don't do what they told? See how the Latina chick knows it, and the CNN chick in the middle? And look at my man on the end, like, look at these goofy broads. He giving them the gong face and the gas face.
the polling here shows that about 80% of DC residents think that this is an absolute overreach. And so this is not happening in consultation with the people who both the mayor and the president are supposed to represent. They do not like this. They see this as an infringement on the city itself, and they see this as an occupation and not as some sort of liberation from crime. Of course, nobody likes crime. Of course, murders are bad. But this is about something much deeper. How do you do this? Whose role is it to tackle it? And who has autonomy?
So, Michael, what do you make of the mayor?
Can I push back a little bit? I mean, who's saying this? 2 weeks ago, I was on air on Laura Coates' show, and we aired about a 4 or 5 minute package of one of our reporters talking to residents in DC, for example, who live in some of those very dangerous areas, mixed race people, young and old, older people saying, at my age, I have to go home before sundown because it is too dangerous. So maybe if you're talking to some milquetoast liberal who lives in Northeast DC or Northwest DC in a $2 million house,
sure, Michael,
then maybe
you
they're
live
saying,
in Virginia,
it's
and
great.
I live in
Maybe
Washington, D.C.
But let me tell you something. There are
You
a
live
lot
in
of people
Virginia,
who live in the
and I
poor
live in
areas who
Washington,
do not
D.C.
see it the way that Lulu just described. And again, I'm not saying, Aaron, that this is a long-term fix. I acknowledge the fact that this is only temporary. You do got to increase funding. You do have to have more policing. But hell, that's pretty hypocritical coming from the other side who demonized the hell out of police for 4 years.
Sure, Michael,
give me
I am a
break here.
reporter. I am not the other side. I am simply saying that there was a recent poll that said 80% of the residents of this city do not agree. And that's a fact. Now, you can try and cherry pick your, who you want to talk about, but that is just the way that the people feel here. Now, I believe in a democracy, people who live in a city should have a say in what happens there.
I
Call me
agree, but
crazy.
I agree. I'm also a strategist. I've worked in a lot of polls, and I know focus group, size,
80%.
education, ethnicity, all of that stuff matters, Lulu. It's easy to come up with a poll and say, well, this demonstrates what most people believe. You know that as well as I do.
I think at the end of the day, this is not about crime. I understand that the president and you would like to make this about crime. The bigger concern here is what this means, putting troops on the streets of American cities, troops that the governors of those cities don't want, the mayors of those cities don't want, and the people of those cities don't want. What does that say about the United States of America today? The concern, and I've worked in many of these places, is that this.
Yo, shout out to Saul in the chat. He said extreme times take extreme measures. They need to get the F out of here with this shit. And this is a good time for me to do a late night Craig Ferguson drop.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
All right, let's go.
This turns into some kind of police state where, of course, you have safety, but you lack liberty. And that is the concern I'm hearing from many, many people.
Lulu, I don't want that either, by the way. No American wants to live in a police state. I'm in agreement with you there. But people also deserve to live in safe communities, and having 60, 50, 40 people killed in the
100%.
city every other weekend just seems nonsensical to me.
All right, we'll hit pause there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron.
For the conversation.
Spot on. That's why I had that guy up there. Good argument against these mainstream talking points, and I like to see the brothers doing it because they purposely be having these soft lefties up, like Jonathan Capehart, Crying Vance Jones. And you're right, I need to get the Crying Vance Jones drop up and popping. So we're gonna call him the Crying Man. You know what I'm saying? For when some goofy shit is going on. I want to do a brief part of this, and then I'm going to do a small by the numbers segment, and we're going to get out of here. Like I said, I like finding these black content creators that do political commentary, and I'm surprised how much we're all used to seeing like the Officer Tatum's, the Hodge twins, but I've noticed a lot of the guys that are really big, they're kind of like everyday Joe, like black guys, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm surprised that their channels are so large. And I'm highlighting these guys because I want to show that these stances that we're taking down here, which are far more, which are conservative, I will say conservative, but in light of the political climate being so far left, Saul and I have made the argument that this is actually a move to the center, not a move to the right. And I've made this argument before that even a lot of Trump's political policies, aside from his more inventive things with international policy, a lot of his domestic policy is the Democrats in the 90s. Do you know what I'm saying? So this guy is Brian Maxwell, and this is it was briefly in the news that there were demands for arrests for George Soros. It's talking about RICO because he's funding most of these protests, and what have you. So this one is demands to arrest George Soros for the $260 million USAID fraud linked to political violence and election chaos. So I like to see that they are going. Oh yeah, Hodge twins are funny as hell. And I've been watching the Hodge twins since like way back in the day before they even started doing political commentary. I think they were actually more liberal back then. Hodge twins are funny as hell, and people don't get like that whole it's trolling and comedy. That whole yuck yuck haw like shit that they do. Like they don't get it. Like that, it's different than some of the Tatum stances, like always 100% law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. He be caping for some on some particular shit. I think Tatum getting a little bit of money a little bit because it's important to call shit down the middle. You know what I'm saying? But I want to just play a piece of this because it's a long segment, but I want to I think did I link the source videos in the description? I will at the end of the show if I haven't. But let's play a bit of this. Let me take my overlay off. Let's play a bit of this. So this is Brian Maxwell, another black content creator, and like I said, he's at 213,000 subscribers. So I keep saying like there's a huge audience for this. We just got to get in the algorithm.
I be saying against Soros, one of the most powerful men in the world, and we haven't even prosecuted or arrested any politicians here in America yet. Yeah, right. And as I get into this video, hopefully I can help you see things a little bit clearer because you're going to hear from Soros' own mouth what he has to say about Trump, and you're going to hear what's been unveiled, information that people have known that Soros has been involved in things, but we have to understand something. When everybody's demanding all of these arrests, this video is going to help you overstand, not understand. Because to understand something means it's above your head. You're understanding it. But to overstand something means to be on top of it and have full comprehension. In this video, you're going to hear exactly why you haven't seen more prosecutions yet and exactly how that's getting ready to flip. These people are extremely smart. These demon rats working hand in hand with Soros, these folks are masters at destruction. This isn't the first country that Soros has put his hands on to try to destroy.
I've said this before. He broke the Bank of England. And like I said, Soros, his whole thing is breaking economies and breaking countries. And he makes billions and billions of dollars. You know, Saul and I and Tito, we did the Diverting Hate special report segments for a while. We were on the USAID thing because we were calling this before. I'll be calling it the nonprofit industrial complex. So I'm glad that this brother is actually covering this. He actually the pieces of this segment that I saw were really good. We're not going to do all of it, but let's give him some airplay.
Destroy many other ones with helping them take away their borders, bring in heavy crime, and it's all funded by him. So please, in this video, pay attention because what you're going to see, I assure you, you're going to want to share it. And realize this: if President Trump brings a case against a Letitia James, Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, any of these people, especially the prosecutors and the attorney generals, understand this is their field.
Oh, you watch him too, Kwame? Yo, bro, I've been peeping. Like a lot of us all watch the same content, even like stuff people be sending me. I'm like, oh, I just watched that, or oh, I watched that content creator. I be even seeing y'all in some people's chats, like Aaron Clary and Lionel Nation. I'll be seeing y'all in Lionel Nation's chats too.
They're extremely skilled at it to the highest levels. That's how they're AGs of states and whatnot. These folks aren't dumb. They're Ivy League graduates. They're heavily networked out. And if President Trump and the DOJ, Pam Bondi, or the FBI brings a case and they lose, that will destroy their credibility and will make it difficult to bring any other prosecutions. So we're talking about 8 months in to where they're finally getting the chance to get their hands on documents and set up cases. Think about for people that have committed assault against people, battery. It's taken longer than this to investigate. I watched the true crime shows. It's taken years in some instances where they've had all the evidence, but they could not tie it together well enough to get a conviction. So please rest assured, it's only 8 months and they're doing this.
Yo, shout out to this dude because he's making us a lot of the same arguments I've been making about what's going on with the DOJ, about how quickly they're moving, but people are perceiving it as moving slow. He was saying like, yeah, even with the Epstein files, I think they got the files, and then it was just like, we don't got enough we got information, but it's more like tabloidish type shit, like leak shit. We don't have enough to actually bring prosecution on certain things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's an argument about goalpost shifting. When Biden was in power, like nothing got done for 4 years. Trump's been in office for now a little over 6 months, and he's checked off so many things on the checklist. So now it's like, well, do this, do this. So this guy's done more than what this in 6 months than what the past presidency did in 4 years. And so like the standard of what needs to be done is like outrageous now. Like, bro, let the man cook. You feel me?
It's the right way. When they bring it, a blind and deaf person, Helen Keller, would be able to sit on the jury at one of these cases when they bring it and realize the person's guilty. And remember, she was deaf, blind, and mute. And so when a deaf, blind, and mute person can see that
what's his channel? It's Brian Maxwell. Hold on. They're gonna let me scroll up. Come on, bro. I got it on full screen for the whatchamacallit. Hold on. It's Brian Maxwell. Let me see if I could drop it in the chat. It's Brian Let me see if it'll let me drop it in the chat. StreamYard be acting funky with me, bro. Paste. Bang, there it is. I just dropped the link to I dropped the link to this video in the chat, but that's his channel right there. Bang, there you go. And this is my point that I was saying is like, you see how he's just like a regular dude? Like a lot of these black content creators, like, and like some of them is like real hood dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they whole image and demeanor, but they be spot on with the politics. And that's what I was saying. Like, I think it's an illusion that there are actually, I think that Wrench Turner said it a long time ago when we were the night that we were covering the Trump election, that we're what we're doing. We're on the right side of history with this. Like we're looking at an end of the black Democratic male liberal, bleeding heart liberal black men. Like the last holdouts are those are like these old ninjas, Tethers, and Backdoria. I think the general, and that's even young black men. We're all trending conservative and everything like that. And I think it's a far bigger movement than you would actually believe. And that there's an audience for black men like this. Like I said, because all these content creators I've been finding, like they're all 200,000 to 1 million subscribers strong, bro.
can get the feeling and inkling that a person's guilty, you know, is bad. So let's get off into this. So let me introduce you to George Soros, because not just Soros, his son Alex too. Now this is Alex Soros, okay? That's George, obviously the older gentleman, and there's Alex. But let me introduce you.
And you know who Alex Soros is? He's Jasmine Crockett's buddy. Jasmine Crockett is now a multimillionaire. She was not a multimillionaire when she first went down to Texas to fill that seat. But there's mad pictures with her and Alex Soros. So Jasmine Crockett is an Alex Soros puppet.
There's some of their other friends too, because that's not the only friends that they have. Here's some of the other friends of the Soroses. Now, as you can see here, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. As you can see here, we got Chuck Schumer, we've got Tampon Tim, we've got Scamala, we've got Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, Adam Shifty Schiff, we got Sleepy Creepy Piss Pants Joe, Jasmine Crotchet. Don't know who this. Oh, that's Pete Buttigieg. We've got Nancy Pelosi. We've got Senator Warnock out of Georgia. We've got Hakeem the Dream, Timo Obama, and then we've got your girl out of Massachusetts, and for some reason, Elizabeth Warren. Right. So we've got all of the main players, and as you can see there, but nobody elected them. So you
exactly. You see, all of the main players always the loudest and the wrongest, and when you be listening to their takes on things. You be listening to their takes on things. You be like, "Yo, this is craziness what they talking." But it makes sense now when you look at this Soros connection. They getting paid for this chaos and this nonsensical. And worst of all, their main constituency are the American black community, but primarily, what, at 92%? Keisha. That's why black men voting with Keisha, y'all on y'all way off a cliff. You're going to have to let Keisha drown by herself. You feel me? All these Democratic black males, man, you get the gong face.
You got Soros, and these aren't from years ago. All of these are from 2024. They were all networking with him during the Kamala Harris presidential run. Now, here's what President Trump sent out. George Soros and his wonderful radical left son should be charged with RICO because of their support of violent protests and much more all throughout the United States of America. We're not going to allow these lunatics to rip apart America anymore, never giving it so much as a chance to breathe and be free. Soros and his group of psychopaths have caused great damage to our country. That includes his crazy West Coast friends. Be careful. We're watching you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. See, Soros has linked up with your Gavin Newscombs and some of these other folks, allegedly, through his open society. And they've been bringing the pain for a long time. Now, Soros has something he wanted to get off his chest about President Trump. But understand this, since he was a boy, he told his own story on 60 Minutes, which they banned on television, which when he was young, and he's a Jewish man. When he was young, though, and the Germans were invaded, he was given a choice. You can either help the Germans and trade on your people and help us collect this silver and these gold and these goods from these people, or you can die with them. You know what he did? Obviously, he's alive today. He flipped. He flipped on his own people and joined the Germans. And he was a part of going in and kicking Jews out and helping them get put in concentration camps, allegedly. That's at the core of this man, and that's from when he was a boy. Now, since that time, when you trade on your own people, heartlessly, and even said that he don't regret it at all. It was all about survival. And if he didn't do it, somebody else would. That is his mentality and ideology. And when a person like that has no soul, no heart at the core, and truly performs like he's the devil's son, You think he cares about yours, mine, our families, anybody's families? He's all about the almighty dollar because there's nothing else to look forward to. He knows where he's going if there is an afterlife, if based on his actions, what the Bible says is true. And I'm not here to get all religious on you, but men like him don't think about afterlife. Everything is now. They want to live forever. And I'm willing to bet money that he's poured millions, if not billions, into some of this technology that they have, where they're really working to transfer consciousness from one body into another, what they call a sleeve.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby Cole is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve.
I think cloning humans is inherently a bad idea for sort of, if I may, evolutionary biological reasons. And that is that if you clone yourself, if this were successful, this kid, this baby, would not be the combination of two people's genes. And so this kid would be inherently falling one genetic step behind, if you will, everybody else in kindergarten. Everybody else would be a result of a mixture of genes. A clone would be the result of a single set of genes.
Glenn McGee is director of the Center for Bioethics at the University of Pennsylvania and the author of the Human Cloning Debate and Generation Genome. Dr. McGee was with the FDA 2 years ago when it shut down a Clonade lab in West Virginia. He joins us now from Philadelphia.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a Cash App or a Super Chat. But you hitting that like button, it helps spread the information out where other people can see. Destroy other people.
And you see how good this brother's content is? That's my point. I be trying to share these content creators with you so you guys can watch them and follow them too. You get better information. This segment is fire, right? My man did his research. So the internet helps you connect with people and everything. Like I said, there's more of us out here than we believe or know. And like I said, if you look at these guys following subscriber base, it shows you how large the audiences are for that. So like, we make our red pill, black pill / black pill content, but part of that too is a political education initiative for FBA black men in particular, because these are power dynamics, as Jason Black would say, and we need to really be on it, because this whole leave Keisha alone thing also means thinking for yourself politically as well. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Quiet Storm. We in here. Shout out to Quiet Storm down at the conclave, holding it down for everybody. Yo, and thanks for picking up the Gospel of Kevin Samuels by the illustrious Obsidian. I seen the pictures you sent, and Theo looking healthy down there. Yeah, I'm supposed to be in the virtual Theo's virtual class tomorrow at the conclave tomorrow. Whatchamacallit? Hit me up with the I'm gonna hit you on a WhatsApp. I just got my WhatsApp reinstalled on my device. I need to know how to log into that into Theo's virtual class at the conclave tomorrow. I know it's Sunday, so it's most of the day. But since you up in here, Storm, this is good. Let me show you some new drops. Do you see this one? And let's just do a quick late night joint, and we'll get back to it.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, How about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
All right, bet. Let's go.
I don't care what industry you look in. When you look at the absolute tippity top of these people who are so wealthy, it's like the stories you get of these different princes of other countries, where you hear they bring models over to make them eat donkey poop and have sex with their camels, and because the camel is like a part of their family. It's crazy. The only thing that would make somebody do something like that is you're demonic, because you want to watch somebody else have pain. You want to watch somebody else suffer, and you want to watch how far you can have somebody go for that dollar bill. And that's just crazy to me. But is what's crazier is you got people out there that's willing to do it. Now, check out this video clip where it's going to really lay it out for you exactly what Soros was busted up, and exactly why the Democrats were so upset when Doge came in and obliterated USAID. Check this clip out.
While you struggle to pay your bills, Democrats secretly pumped $260 million through USAID into Soros-linked NGOs overseas. And this is not just overseas. This is also domestically in the United States, and it is also through other organizations like, let's see, the African Development Bank. There's an Inspector General's report coming out about that. This is a huge story, obviously closely linked to what President Trump said just a couple, was it a day ago, when he said that George Soros and his son, Alexander Soros, who's taken over his evil empire, and that they should be charged under RICO statutes for funding the riots across the United States.
Do you know that these staging companies, one based up in DC, said that their sales shot up over 400%? They get requests from politicians, and the man said that majority of their business is from the left. They get people and they're paid to have them bring people out, to hold signs, to get loud, to cause ruckus. There's a company that literally employs people to go out and stage like they're an audience. And if you notice something from 2020 or 2022 to right now, have you noticed how different the protests are? You go out and look, and it looks like a geriatric protest. Everybody out there is 65 and older. They were even taking people in wheelchairs. I'm talking about look like they were barely alive, and nothing to do with them. They've lived their life, but they were out there looking like they were barely alive, getting wheeled out there with signs just sitting on their lap. The person wasn't even awake. And if you go out there and you were asking some of these people, hey, what are you protesting for? They didn't even know. So you have people that were over 65 that are retired, unemployed, on fixed incomes going. And then you had younger people that were just either ex-drug addicts, felons who couldn't get hired anyplace else, and they needed to work and get some money. And as a matter of fact, in one post, it said that you can get as much as $12,000 depending on how destructive you are. And those were the ads running for the LA riots. So you find out that USAID, our taxpayer dollars, had 260 million of it funneled to Soros and an NGO. And an NGO stands for non-government organization. Some people be wondering, what does that mean? Yeah, non-government organization. So it's somebody that's doing government work, but it's not a government agency, which means they don't fall under the same type of stipulations and regulations and monitoring. They're not as monitored. Matter of fact, they're I'm not going to say self-sufficient because they require government money, but they run themselves. They have people that run it. They have a board, And so it's really out of sight, out of mind. And that's where a lot of this money have been pumped to. And these were the people funding these illegals, helping them get over, helping them get illegal licenses, helping them do all types of stuff, allegedly. Got to keep it alleged when you're talking about this stuff, because folks will try to come and get at you. But $260 million funneled to this billionaire. So in other words, the United States is paying for its own destruction under the Biden administration and under the Obama administration. Now, what brought all of this to the forefront? Everybody for years knew Soros was crooked as a letter S. But that whole uproar in Texas that the Democrats did when they were grandstanding, because they didn't like the fact that Texas was going to level the playing field and give their constituents an opportunity to have proper representation. Because in Texas, they had rigged those districts to where all of the districts were chopped up in low-income, high-poverty areas. And typically, low-income, high-poverty areas have ignorant voters. And when I say ignorant, meaning lacking knowledge, lacking information. Typically, they have the lowest grade scores, the lowest test scores, the lowest proficiency and efficiency on math and reading. But yet these are the people casting the votes that dictate the political leaders, the sheriffs, the city council, the state senate, the state Congress in those areas, where those that are in more affluent or more middle class areas, where the school systems and the education and the efficiency and proficiency is higher, they have very minimal impact, because it's just one big district rather than the 15 or 20 that are chopped up in the low income areas. So Ken Paxton decided that he was going to launch an investigation, because when those Democrats left, they weren't getting paid, but all of their expenses were being covered by a person named Beto O'Rourke. Now, Beto O'Rourke, let me show you what this individual looks like. This right here is Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke was the person that was funding the Democrats that they ran off. They were up in Chicago, some were in New York. They were staying in 5-star resorts, allegedly 4 or 5-star hotels. They were eating food. They had to travel. And remember, they weren't getting paid. So how were they getting money? Come to find out, Beto O'Rourke was funding it. And guess what happened? They did an investigation, and what the courts did, rightfully so, they put a lien on all Beto O'Rourke's money and property. And as you see here, thanks to a court order signed by Judge Megan Fahey, Beto O'Rourke can no longer raise or distribute money for or to rogue Texas House Democrats who fled the state to avoid doing their jobs. Furthermore, she placed a lien on all money and property owned by the failed political candidate. If you see Beto, you might offer to buy him lunch. He might be getting a little hungry. So because he wanted to jump in and illegally and unethically, let me say unethically.
Nah, Storm, that ain't you. I figured it out, Storm. That ain't you, bro. It's not your YouTube messing with the channel, man. Tito wasn't bullshitting about that removing subscribers, comments not being able to be left. And yeah, they be messing with my super chat and the long form videos for the AdSense money. So what I figured out, even with because that I'm gonna check my Cash App in a minute, but I'll give you your drops right now. But with the super chats, I realized that only be happening with people who super chat me a lot. It's to discourage people from sending super chats. It's real. That stuff Tito was talking is real. I sent Saul a screenshot the other day. I had like 200 something subscribers more. And then then within 3 hours, those subscribers were gone. I screenshotted it. So yeah. Hey, let's do some drops for the Cash App.
I played a midwife, and it meant that I was going to be elbow deep in vaginas the entire time I was shooting.
I'm listening.
Seriously, I showed up to work one day, and nobody bothered to warn me that somebody was giving birth, and she was actually going to be.
Well, it was an actress pretending.
But she was she took off her underwear, and I was kneeling, and she was standing.
Slower.
And the camera was behind her, and my face was in her.
Yeah, well, this is the greatest movie I've ever heard of.
It was scary.
Yeah, I know. The first time you see one, they're pretty frightening, but soon you learn to love them.
Yeah. All right, guys. Wow. All right, that went fast. We are at oh yeah, she fine as hell. There's all these. I used to watch Craig Ferguson like all the time, right? I'm a big late night fan. That's why we modeled like our late night show. We was like, let's just do late night TV for YouTube, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the manosphere section, me and Saul had that conversation, right? So that's where we get all this from. But I used to watch Craig Ferguson all the time, man. He used to rizz up the ladies and the baddies, right? So now that the show hasn't been on for so long, there are all these clips of him rizzing up chicks. So I've been chopping them up and just been using them as drops because they're hilarious. Yo, and once again, shout out to No News, man. I reshared these No News podcast. I reshared some of these on the community tab, and I'm gonna do the same thing with Red Simmer. But I downloaded some of them and turned them into like skins and like mini news commercials. So AC got the no reach back. Look at this joint that No News did, the no reach back spray. wig wash shit is hilarious, bro. The wig wash shit is hilarious. We have the 1 hour 54-minute mark, man. That's my time for this evening, gentlemen. Tomorrow, I'll be in the conclave all day during the day. I'll be in Theo's class, but we will be on for Sunday night panel as usual. We had a team up: me, Saul, Tito, Mr. O. Thanks for coming hanging out with me in the chat. Glad you guys like the new drops, the new skins. As you can see, I'm updating the branding on the news desk. By the time we get to season 9, this shit'll be pumping on all 6 cylinders, man. It'll be as sexy as the Sunday night show and the late night show with its own branding. Shout out to Quiet Storm for once again talking me into at least brainstorming with me to get this done. To do this news desk. This turns out to be, I enjoy doing the show now. You know what I'm saying? Like the first 2 weeks was, just getting used to doing the show by myself dolo, because I am primarily a producer. That being said, man, thanks for coming hanging out with me. Tune in, check us out tomorrow night, Sunday panel. Like I always do about now, I want to say good night, good luck. See you guys tomorrow.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
Hey, where's Stewie? That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it, and we'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks!
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.